Right, welcome back to Matthew's Blueprint for Britain. I have got a great guest, someone who I've known for many, many years. We've met a couple of times, fallen out, fallen in. It's like a brilliant rom-com, this. Lee, how are you?
I was all right till you said we fell out. When did we fall out?
Just, I mean, the sense of losing contact with each other,
Oh, right, yeah.
estranged lovers moving to different sides of London, and then they find themselves back together on a podcast. That's how it's got to be, hasn't it?
No, yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm all good, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, this is really exciting. The idea of Matthew's Blueprint for Britain is a different guest every week. We talk about the topics of the week and just absolutely try and say what the heck's going on and come up with some sort of vision to fix this country. And the one thing that you guaranteed here is tons of Union Jacks on me, behind, on my radiator. There's all the Union Jacks. I think I've got a cupboard of shirts that, if the police turn up, I'd get raided and arrested probably. Right, look, this week we've had the crazy fallout from Rachel Reeves's budget. Tax rises, broken manifesto pledges, leaks from the OBR. I mean, they had everything up before the budget was even delivered. The head of the OBR's resigned. There was rumours that the Financial Conduct Authority would conduct an investigation, and they've said that they're not going to investigate Rachel Reeves. I mean, how on earth did the Chancellor of the Exchequer survive the most catastrophic budget lead-up and budget there's ever been, Lee?
I mean, where'd you go? I mean,
Where to begin?
I mean, you could say that about a number of them, really, couldn't you? You could say that. I mean, I could run a list off as long as my arm for the amount of them that I wonder why and how they are actually in the positions of power they're in. But I mean, I said it to a fella that you and I both know, Randy Block from America, when he done an interview with me a while back. And I said to him then, I said, we have a front bench full of Kamala Harrises. That's what we have.
That's a brilliant way to put it.
Because that's the only way I could analyze it for his American audience to understand it. Because that's what I mean. Just the nonsense they spout. I said the other day, I think it's like 22% of people in the UK use Twitter. Okay, if the other 60-odd% of people that don't use Twitter saw the amount of rubbish that their MPs post on X, Twitter, wherever, election results would look a wholly lot different. I can promise you that.
Well, I put a video out this week, so I was on GB News and talking about and Talk TV that weekend, and someone called in to say, how do we get rid of Labour? I said, well, get out and vote. Only 30% of people vote at local and mayoral elections. Only 60% of people vote at a general election. So many of these seats at the last election were won by the smallest of margins. If people bothered to go vote, then many of those seats would have been different. I mean, Hendon, nearby us, was won by, I think it was 16 votes.
Yeah, and I always have this argument with, well, I don't have this argument with anyone anymore because I can't be bothered, but people say to me, like, oh, there's no point in voting. Voting's a waste of time, right? And I'm like, well, how do you know unless you try? It costs you nothing.
And also, if you don't bother voting, you don't have any right to complain.
No,
whatever happens.
It costs you nothing to try at the end of the day. And what these people need to remember is that we end up with governments like this, and we end up with politicians like this because of the lack of votes. Because one of the things that socialists like to do is they like to literally just how do you call it? How do you say it? Like, you just feel tired, and I get it when people
wear
say,
you down.
Yeah, they wear you down and wear you down because they rely on their core votes, and the people that vote Labour will never change. They'll always vote Labour. That is it. End of story.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, and once and as I said to someone before, once they get into positions of power, it's very difficult to get rid of them. There's no secret, and there's no. When you read between the lines of what politicians say and do, if you've heard when they first got elected, Labour, you first heard them all say, every single one of them say, this is a 10-year plan. So they've already got it in their idea, in their minds, that they're there for 10 odd years. This country doesn't have 10 years to deal with this level of stupidity as a front bench. So to go back to your question about how Rachel Reeves survived after the budget, I mean, I just don't. I mean, had anybody who still believes this nonsense, I mean, how many times do you have to listen to, oh, you know, we're raising taxes because it's going to help us improve public transport?
You can't keep throwing money at problems and expecting it to work. It doesn't.
We're raising taxes because it's going to improve the NHS. We're raising taxes to build to rebuild the roads and the pot. I've heard them three excuses for 20 odd years, and for 20 odd years, my taxpayers' money has never gone on it. Never. And the thing about the potholes as well is quite interesting, because what people don't realise is that it's not the government that's going to fix it. So the money has to get filtered down. So if you live in London, for example, you've got the red routes, which are TfL owned. So the money has to go through TfL, and then if it's not TfL owned road, it goes filtered through the council. Now, depending on what council you are run by, will dictate where their priorities lie. So if they feel they don't need, then
exactly.
And TfL,
and I know this as a local councillor, the roads are not dealt with by the government. So the government can say as much as it wants that the money is going to be spent on these things. As you say, they will give it to the council, who then decides what the hell they want to spend it on. It's just, I mean, yes, you can ring fence a bit of money, but the government's never going to deal with this issue properly. I mean, I do not understand how Rachel Reeves survived this budget, leaking the whole bloomin' thing to the press beforehand to see what their reactions were, breaking every manifesto promise, gaslighting the country. She said there was a £22 billion black hole, and then the OBR went, well, there isn't, love, and she kept going on about it. I mean, they lied to Parliament and the country, and yet they get to keep their jobs.
I mean, the minute she turned around last year and said there was a 22 million black hole, I automatically, straight away said the only reason she's saying that is because she's going to create it.
Yeah, and she did. She ironically did. So the day that she made the speech on November the 4th, preambling the budget, saying, oh, this is going to be really difficult, the markets dropped £22 billion. It was ironic. It was like perfect. Oh my God, there is that 22 billion black hole. It's your own.
Which then sets her up perfectly to do what she did.
I know. To be honest, it's a masterclass from them on political survival, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, I mean, these people, I mean, they're in jobs way over their head. You know, Rachel Reeves. I mean, I do better maths at work than she can.
Do you think she went to Diane Abbott's School of Economics?
I mean,
well, no, that was between when she was working in accounts and when she was working in complaints. She went off to do a gap year.
I mean, the thing is that when we talk about economic, I mean, I'm not, as I said, I'm not economically astute in any way, shape, or form. You know, like, I mean, if you want that kind of conversation, then you have to talk to Joseph Robertson, like you spoke to him the other day. Like, if you want an articulate, economic conversation with me, then I'm afraid anybody who's watching this is going to be disappointed. But even I can understand the basics of how money works. You know what I mean? So when I hear things like we've got to tax the billionaires more. If we tax the billionaires more, no, that's not. It's not. We're a country that's spending more than we're earning. So when you look at it from a business point of view, if you own a business and you're spending more than you're earning, then there's a problem somewhere, isn't it? And putting your prices up is not going to make a lot of difference, because all you're going to do is you're going to lose customers.
Yeah, we have to live within our means as a country, and just every bit I look at, every cabinet member I look at is just coming up with more random and crazy ideas that weren't even in their manifesto. I mean, one of them that is this idea about jury trials. You know, David Lammy scrapping jury trials in all except for the most serious of offences, so murder, robbery, rape, and a couple of public interest cases. I mean, firstly, this wasn't in their manifesto, and secondly, the right to a jury trial is in the Magna Carta, enshrined in the Magna Carta. 800 years old tradition of having jury trials in this country. And David Lammy thinks he's got the right to rip that up.
Well, he's another idiot, isn't he? I mean, I can't.
Well, David Calamity Whammy,
Yeah,
we call
I'm
him.
trying really hard to not swear on your show, but but like again, he's another one. Like, I mean, see, I heard
Deputy Prime Minister, don't forget, if Keir Starmer gets a cold, that man's in charge.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the story, and I was like, my first thought was, well, that makes it a lot easier to nobble the judge, doesn't it?
Mm.
And it makes it a lot easier to sway decisions if there's a certain person up on the dock that you don't necessarily want to be put in prison or be smeared in any way, shape, or form for whatever accusation. Let's take that Labour councillor, for example. Yeah, who wanted to slit the throats of every Conservative councillor and MP.
Ricky Jones, wasn't it, I think?
So we all know already that there are certain judges in our establishment that are very swayed by certain political opinions. So when you take the juries away from them, it makes it a lot easier for them to make that decision.
Yeah.
And for them to turn around, or for him to turn around and say, oh, we're doing it, making it easier, so it helps the victims and everything. It doesn't help the victims in any way, shape or form, especially when you're using this as a headline to hide the fact that 3-4 more prisoners have accidentally been released from prison.
Over 100 prisoners this year
if you're
have been accidentally released.
So if you're a victim of a serious crime, whether it be sexual or whatever, and you find out that person that has been put in prison has escaped or been accidentally released, I would find that more worrying than speeding up his process to be put in prison. Because what's the point of speeding up his process of being in prison if he's going to be released within the next 4 months?
We're going to let him out anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. The other argument that Labour will say is that this is to clear the backlogs. Now, my granddad was a magistrate, and he said the issue was that magistrates and judges could only sit a certain number of days a year.
Yeah.
But obviously, since COVID, they've tried to obviously they didn't sit during COVID, massive backlog builds up. To try and curb this backlog, they've allowed judges to sit they've allowed the courts to sit extra days a year, but they haven't increased the number of days judges and magistrates can sit per year. So there are judges and magistrates around the country who want to sit and do these trials. They've used up their days. There's more fundamental basics to this than lessening sentences, which is what they've done a couple of months ago, and now scrapping jury trials without any mandate, without any democratic, electorate saying yes, that's what we want.
Well, I mean, you just said it there. I mean, you just answered the question. If you want to speed up a backlog, work more hours.
Actually, fix it. Yeah. I mean, do you think
when I'm at work, I'm at work, right, and I've got a backlog of stuff that needs doing, then I will stay an extra hour every day until I've caught up with it.
No, Lee. No. We just scrap the work. Yeah. That's what we do.
I don't turn around to my boss and say, well, you know what? If I had less if I had less customers coming in, I'd be able to get this done quicker. Again, I go back to, as I said, but from a business point of view, it would make no sense. So no. The whole thing makes no sense. The budget makes no sense. He makes no sense. They make no sense. Keir Starmer wanders around. He's getting greyer by the day, that fella, and he's walking around Sadiq Khan's doing a good job. Angela Rayner's doing a good job. David Lammy's doing a good job. Rachel Reeves, none of them are doing a good job. They're all shite.
Do you think that Labour would have won the general election if they had been honest with the public about what they were going to do and what their plans were?
No, because Labour wouldn't have won the election if the Tory party had been honest from the start and not fucked it up. Pardon my language.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's that simple. Again, I go back to what I said earlier. Labour have got their core votes. It's why they're so desperate to keep hold of a certain demographic for votes that they're losing, because they've got their core voters that they've relied on for a number of years, and all it required was to make sure that the right wing side of people become tired and become disillusioned to the point where they just can't be bothered to vote anymore, and that's what we got. Labour didn't.
Well, I think we're at a situation now where, these May elections coming up, Labour's vote is going to be through the floor because people are just not going to vote for this shambles. As you say, they've got their core voters, but any honest, decent-looking person would go, I can't vote for this.
That's if
this is a disaster.
That's if you get an election.
But true, they've cancelled 4 elections because of, they say because of government restructuring.
No,
in reality, it's because Reform are likely to win all 4 of those elections. Again, cancelling elections. Where was that in their manifesto? I honestly think this Labour Party is an authoritarian dictatorship. Digital ID that no one had any mandate for, scrapping jury trials, clamping down on your freedom of speech, cancelling elections. These are all things that if I said to you President Putin's bringing in, or Xi Jinping, or Kim Jong-un, you'd go, yeah, no, I'm not surprised. Well, Keir Starmer's doing it, don't you think?
Yeah, this is what we're seeing is a speeding up process of what I said earlier, where they wanted 10 years to do it. Yeah. They know they don't have 10 years. They know
cram it in now.
They know they've got 3 or maximum. Yep. And they need to get it done quickly. So they need to get on with the devolution, which you know how I feel about that. They need to get on with raising as much money as they can, because they need to claw back the amount of money they've spent and given away fruitlessly to stupid things.
Oh yeah, Chagos Islands and immigration.
Yeah. And she raised taxes. She raised taxes, and I'm not getting into the war, but she raised taxes, the other day, right? And then the other one, what's her name, Yvette Cooper, then came up and decided that she was going to write another check out for Ukraine. Bearing in mind that a few days prior to that, Ukraine were all over the news about a number of their politicians up for corruption and fraud. So
the biggest problem is, and I've said this for a while now, Britain is being put last. We are being put at the back of the queue. And the person putting us at the back of the queue is ourselves. It's our own government that's selling us out. It's our own government that's handing away the sovereignty of, the Chagos Islands, for example. It's our own government that's self-harming Britain. It's just, this cannot go on. There's going to be a civil war at some point.
Yeah, as I said, they know they don't have 10 years anymore, but they're speeding it up as quick as possible. They like to think that they've got the majority votes, but as you said, the stats will tell you quite rightly that the majority of people didn't actually vote at all. So they don't have a majority.
If they went and voted, it would be different.
They have a majority amongst voters, but the fact is that if more people voted, then they wouldn't have been in the first place. But I still put a bet on them. Keir Starmer is not going to last the next 12 months. I've said it.
I had thought Keir Starmer was going to go this Christmas, and Rachel Reeves was going to go after this budget, but I'm going to stop holding my breath on these things because they just seem to survive and survive and survive.
No, I think next year
it'll be it.
I think next year there's going to be changes next year. Where it goes, I don't know, but I think I think next year is going to be a very interesting.
Let's see what happens in the May elections. Yeah. But speaking of someone who gets away with every scandal under the sun, the third topic is always down to you, my guest, and I think you've gone for Sadiq Khan in London. Is that right? Our good friend, someone who I seem to live rent-free in his mind, unlike millions of Londoners.
I always go for him. Yeah, I always go for Sadiq Khan because I think if you're gonna if you were going to give me a list of MP, I mean, like, I love it. Where to
begin?
Yeah.
Again, where to begin with him?
I mean, we talk about David Lammy, we talk about Angela Rayner, we talk about Rachel Reeves, we talk about Diane Abbott, we talk about Dawn Butler. I mean, but this man takes it to a whole another level.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've never seen in my lifetime. When it comes to just London, I've never seen a more inept, stupid bunch of politicians and MPs in all my life, like Dawn Butler and Aspana and but when it comes to Sadiq Khan, I mean, that man just if you can call him a man, he just takes it to a whole nother level. And I mean, again, I go back to what I said earlier, like he's got his core votes and they'll never change their mind regardless. But like, I mean, it's very, very thin. And I mean, even now I'm seeing people question his thought process and the way. I mean, I've seen people who did like him and don't like him anymore, and you know, and I got and people always oh, well, London has voted for him, and again I go back, no, we didn't.
No,
when you look at the last election,
I think 33% of people in London bothered to vote.
Yeah, so he didn't. You know, he won because every other candidate were no, you know, and no disrespect to Susan Hall and Howard and everybody else who I like very much, but like they didn't have what it took to beat him, because he has a very, very, I keep saying it, his PR machine, which he spends the majority of our money on.
He spends the mayor's budget promoting his face everywhere.
It's very good, because when you look at
incumbency is huge. People don't realise that incumbency is so powerful.
Yeah, and what I've noticed with him as well, or what I've noticed about his team, is that I don't know whether they have some sort of search thing going on, especially on Facebook and on Threads and Instagram, especially. Not so much Twitter. Twitter, he just gets hounded to the point where he can't even put comments on it.
And he doesn't listen. He doesn't allow anyone to reply either.
But on Meta, what I've noticed is that there must be some sort of thing. His PR team must have a search thing going on, where if his name crops up or London crops up with anything negative to say, they must hit it. Because every time I post something or on our channel about Sadiq Khan or London, I get comments from pages, people, these accounts from people who, you know, having their bio from London, now live in Saint-Tropez or whatever it is, you know, who think that Sadiq Khan is the best thing since sliced bread. And then what you also see is that you also see them parroting the exact same lines that he's parroted a few days before. And you also see he's also got a number of social media channels as well on the payroll that I've noticed. So you have the London Economics, which is owned by Politics Joe, who love him regardless. You also have Secrets London, that used to be a page that used to tell you all about the certain venues and that used to go on about London, where he's now obviously has taken that over, because they seem to laud him up constantly every time he needs something posted about, you know. I mean, Secrets London posted the other day about how crime was going down, and everybody in the comments section said, "What's this got to do with you know,
ridiculous?"
And then you've got Time Out London. Then you have your usual suspects like the Guardian and everything else and that. So, you know,
also
his PR machine is massive, and it's very difficult to sway people's minds. That and what they do is they tend to parrot everything that he repeats. So, for instance, if you take, for example, the word homicide, right? He likes to tell everybody how homicide has gone down. Where every time there's a problem with crime, when we start highlighting the crime stats in London, but homicide's gone down, right? And then all of a sudden you'll get everybody parroting, you lot go on about crime, but homicide's down. Homicide's not the only problem in London when it comes to crime.
No.
And the other thing as well is that homicide is an American term. And last time I checked, and I could be wrong, but homicide means accidental death, does it not?
Yeah, death by accident.
Right. So what about the crimes where people are not dying by
where it's intentional? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, let's give the guy credit. Let's run through his track record. Shoplifting up, burglaries up, violence against women and girls up, crime on the London Underground up. But let's just not focus on crime. What about everything else? Council tax, that's up as well. His mayor's precept. The number of days of strikes on the London Underground, oh, that's up too. The number of houses that he's not started building, well, that's up. The number of houses he's not completed, that's up as well. Homelessness, up. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But the one thing that he never does is apologise and never loses an election.
No, because there wasn't anybody, as I said, there wasn't anybody worth voting for at the election. As I said, what it needs someone to really put him in a corner, like what you do when you go to the question times thing.
People's question time is great. I mean, I'm amazed I've not been thrown out yet.
He hates it when you ask him a question because he can't. He struggles to get out of it in any way, shape, or form. And the last one was absolutely hilarious because you sent him on an absolute hissy fit.
Yeah, but just for those who might not have seen it, I'll put the link below. But I basically, it was the weekend after the Unite the Kingdom protest in London, and I went in my Union Jack shirt and I said to Sadiq Khan, "Will you apologise for calling hundreds of thousands of Londoners far right for simply loving this country and peacefully protesting?" And instead, he didn't, and went on this whole long diatribe and rant, didn't he?
It was. But that's what it needs because, I mean, when we go back to on the last two elections, like Sean Bailey, who I really liked, but he was up for he was failed before he even begun because the Tory party didn't really back him as well as they could, and he was too polite in the way he was going about it. Susan Hall again. I like her very much, and she does get at him when she can. But again, his PR machine got a hold of her, and again, the Tories didn't back her, and that was the end of it. You know.
Well, how do we kick Khan out? Right, we've had everything going on. Right now, we've got the grooming gang. Is the fact that Sadiq Khan doesn't seem to blooming know what a grooming gang is, and B will not admit what we all plainly know and has been whistleblown and seen, that there are grooming rape gangs in London. Why won't he admit it? And is that the thing that is just going to drag on and on and on and on and eventually bring him down?
Well, he recently, over the last couple of weeks, he's slyly admitted it without actually sort of like stating where the problem lies.
He's admitted that there's gangs in London, but not to the way that are being described.
He's admitted, violence against, and again, it's his top priority, like everything else. But he won't go as far as to say like what we all know,
grooming gang.
In terms to getting rid of him, as it's quite simple. You need to fight fire with fire. So you need the Tories need to put someone up, and they need to back that person. So the same way that, as you know, when Sadiq Khan tweets something, every Labour MP in London will tweet it and retweet it, and he's a fabulous mayor, and blah blah blah, and all that nonsense. You need to do the same. When it comes to the Conservatives, I think that fella at the London Assembly at the moment was the Georgia.
Alex Giorgio.
He seems to be lining himself up for to put in his hat in the ring as to be the next one, and yes, he could possibly do it, but at the same time, again, it requires the Tories to actually
I've heard rumours that you've got people like Penny Mordaunt, you've got people like James Cleverly thinking about it. You know, all these sorts of people.
For me, and again, I'm not endorsing. I don't endorse. I try not to endorse any political party in any way, shape, or form. I tend to just like the person. But for me, the obvious choice that will really run Khan through the ringer is Layla Cunningham.
Well, I was just going to say, what about Reform? Layla Cunningham's being lined up. It seems to be Reform's candidate. I know they were looking at Ant Middleton, but
No,
Layla Cunningham looks like she's the one who's going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, any people. Again, I've got no problems with Ant Middleton. I think he's a great bloke. But if you think Ant Middleton's going to win the mayor elections, you're stupid. He's just not going to. He's just not. I'm sorry. He's just not going to win it. Layla Cunningham
fights fire with fire.
Yeah,
she
and
does.
She's Sadiq Khan's worst nightmare, and Reform would be stupid if they do not give her a shot at going for him, because she is everything he hates, yet at the same time everything that he's supposed to support.
Firstly, Muslim.
Yeah.
Secondly,
yeah.
Woman. Judge, magistrate, lawyer, legally trained. And punchy, fiery, someone who says it as it is.
She's a former. She worked for the CPS. She's as I said, she's a woman. She's a woman. She's a Muslim. She's a councillor, so she knows how to run a big council. She knows how to do everything that needs to be done, and. So she's everything that in a weird way, she's everything that Sadiq Khan supposedly supports: an immigrant, a woman, all this malarkey, inclusivity and diversity. But at the same time, she's his worst nightmare, because if it came to a debate, she would absolutely smoke his boots. I've seen her on telly a number of times, and what I like about her is she does not allow the people that she's debating with to just to waffle on and avoid the question and avoid the answer. She nails them and nails them and nails them to the point where they can't answer her, and you can see it on her face. She sits there and she smiles because she already knows
what she's doing.
Yeah,
the cog. Now, one of the things that we got to worry out for, though, is the idea that Sadiq Khan may not stand to be mayor of London again. There is a rumour going round that Sadiq Khan is going to head off doing the books around the world, the European Union, the United Nations, all that sort of stuff. I mean, frankly, he can go stay over there. But Dawn Butler is the rumour in London to be being lined up to take over from Sadiq Khan. Firstly, do you think Sadiq has got it in himself to not stand to be mayor again? Do you think he's got higher aspirations? Do you think he's done? But second, could you imagine Mayor Butler?
No.
Fine, done, sorted. No need for the rest.
It won't be Dawn Butler. It'll be It'll be Mighty Meaty.
Really?
But what's his name? The four, Real Madrid want him and Inter Milan want him and all that. The deputy mayor for environment or whatever. Yeah.
Who on earth are we talking about here? Because now you're talking about Real Madrid. I'm thinking of Jose Mourinho.
His deputy mayor for environmental.
Meti.
Yeah. Where he
really?
Yes. He remember he claimed it. He claimed when he was
he claimed to be a
when he was an aspiring footballer when he was younger, and he claimed that Real Madrid and Inter Milan were tapping him up and everything else.
Mete Coburn.
Yeah, and Alex Wilson got hold of him.
Now I understand it. Who claimed he was a successful footballer and on the scouting lists for Real Madrid. And fine.
He's saving and he's saving the planet by jetting all around the world.
Of course.
And telling people to stop driving their cars while he's paid 120 grand a year. He's being groomed as Khan's successor, not
in the way that Mayor Khan will deny isn't taking place by it. Just to be clear, just to be completely clear before Ofcom come after me or something.
Not Dawn Butler. It will be him if Sadiq Khan decides to step down. Sadiq Khan will only step down if Mike Bloomberg offers him an opportunity to become a member
something.
Something. We know how much he loves New York, and we know how much he loves America. Sadiq Khan will only leave his office if he's got an opportunity when it comes.
I can see a world in which Sadiq Khan moves to America and Donald Trump bans him. I can see I can see that would be brilliant. Can we please make that happen? We'll offer him a free trip over to America, and then Trump just bans him from entering.
Because you got the thing is, we got that. I can't. I don't know how you say his name, Meti or Meti or whatever it is.
I think it's Mete.
Yeah. So we've all
him. The Real Madrid prodigy.
Yeah, so he's trooping on at the moment on X about C40 cities and everything else, and so which Sadiq Khan is the chair of, right?
Yeah.
We all know that C40 cities is funded by Mike Bloomberg, right? We all know that Sadiq Khan takes his orders from Mike Bloomberg. He's openly expressed it on numerous occasions. I've posted about it. I've shown people it. This is who, a wonderful woman, Charlotte Gill. Great journalist, and that she's literally dug down in that hole numerous times. She's got so much information on it. It beggars belief. So this idea that Khan's going to end up leaving City Hall to become Labour leader, or doing book tours and everything else, is not that's not the case. He's either going to end up being something Mike Bloomberg
ego-driven role.
Yeah, Mike Bloomberg's head of environmental, climate, whatever it is. They'll repackage C40 cities in some way or he'll end up. I mean, his ultimate goal is to be an international statesman, isn't it? When you look at it, the way they portray him, so his ultimate goal is to end up at the UN somewhere. When you look at the way his PR.
Well, he can be locked up for crimes against London.
Yeah, the way they fine tune all these little videos and that he does, where they have the where they have the cameraman looking down and pointing the camera up so that it doesn't show how small he is. So he looks so he looks like this big international statesman. And you. If you've noticed his social media account as well, where his Instagram reels, for example, have become very polished now, very refined. So he's got inspiration. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it can't come quick enough when he goes.
Me too. Really I agree.
If you want him at the UN, have him. If you want him in New York, have him. If you do
one-way ticket out of here.
I just don't want him in London anymore, and no one else wants him in London anymore. I mean, we've got it in the news now about like how people are calling on him to women-only carriages.
Stupid.
I mean, what are we doing? Are we going back to the 50s and 40s and 50s in America now, where we have segregation? You're segregating people now from just because you.
Why on earth do you bring in segregated carriages instead of actually deal with the crime?
So just because you can't get a grip on crime.
Don't worry, homicide is down. Homicide's down. But don't worry about it.
What happens? Okay, so let's do this. Let's go another one of your the intrepid. I mean, I still can't. Mike Bloomberg calls him an intrepid problem solver. All right, so problem solve this then for me. Okay, middle of rush hour, right? Like now, people going home from work. You got women, men, children, girls, boys, whatever it is, What happens when them women-only carriages are full to the brim of women and you've still got hundreds and 200 plus women who still... So what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to wait for the next tube, or are they supposed to get on where all the men are still? So because you've got women now and men. So you're making women more vulnerable by doing it. So solve that problem for me, Mr. Intrepid. Yeah, and
the way to solve it is to get rid of the idiots around him.
Street pedestrianisation thing on Oxford Street. Again, all right, solve this problem for me, Mr. Intrepid. Right, what happens? Right, I mean, I don't know what he thinks Oxford Street is. He thinks it's some sort of like boulevard in the south of France or whatever it is, but like it's not. But the residents and everybody else have already come out and said, like, this is not going to work. A lot of them shops on Oxford Street don't have
a service road or things like that.
So where the delivery's going to go? Where are the 6 to 8 bus routes going to go? Where are the taxis going to go? Plus, you're inviting more crime, because what you're doing is you're like a moth to a flame for a criminal, because you limit the amount of exposure that these people have got, pickpocketers especially. Yeah.
Well, which is all over London and getting worse.
Yeah. And when I saw when he done the trial run, as he were, like I just thought that just looks at that is
also the quality of the trial run. I mean, it was bloody like burger trucks and kebab trucks and stuff. Like, sorry, that's not what I want Oxford Street to look like.
It's just like, and no one actually went in the shops anyway, so it didn't actually achieve its aim, because he put so much effort into putting a load of entertainment on the street, like basketball,
that
because
the shops missed out on customers.
Because we're all supposed to be, Americanized now, thanks to the Mr. Intrepid, but we're all supposed to love basketball,
Yeah.
And what happened is that you had just ended up with the same amount of people on the street, but instead of on the pavement going in the shops, they were just in the road. So it didn't.
Look, the problem is with Sadiq, it is an endless pit of just sleaze and scandal when he gets away with it, doesn't it? Just all the time. But at least you hold him to account as well. So, like, where people can find you online, you've got London by Londoners is your big, project that you're leading on. Tell people about that and what you expose.
I mean, we mainly do the one thing that the other, as I said earlier on, the pages of London, apart from London Street Crime UK, which is very focused on just the crime in London. I tend to focus on everything else. So I tend to focus on the politics of it all, and certain MPs and Sadiq Khan especially. And I do what the rest of them don't do. Like I said earlier, like the London economics and everything else. I show London as its reality. So I don't show when people say, "Oh, London's great," and here's a picture of Buckingham Palace. That's not London.
No.
Yeah, you're a tourist.
Get the tube late at night where you're by yourself, but then there's someone who gets in on the carriage and
come down to where I live in South London, near Mitcham and Croydon and Streatham, and I'll show you what London looks like in the middle of the evening. Yeah. Don't say to me, "Well, I'm in the middle of Regent Street at 9:30 and it's fine." Well, of course you are.
Yeah.
No. Down the middle of Croydon High Street at 9:30 and let's see how fine you are then. So we do that, and what I did was I didn't want to hear. So when I done contributors, I wanted to get contributors involved, and I wanted to get other people involved, because I didn't want to spend my every waking day of my ugly mug being on it all the time. I wanted to get contributors involved in that, but what I wanted people. I didn't want the usual suspects, so I didn't want the usual suits and tie farts that you see on the news daily, that we see every day of the week. I wanted
ordinary Londoners.
I wanted people from London whose voices don't get heard enough, and deserve to get a push and deserve to be highlighted more, and to really push back on Sadiq Khan's PR machine. And that's where I got you involved, and I got the Matt involved, and I got obviously Based and Bougie involved, and a number of other people involved, and everything else and that. And then what I did was I came up with the idea that what I wanted to do was, there was an old group that I used to like many years ago, called the Wu-Tang Clan, right? And what they were a group of individual artists who were all very good and all known in their own way, and all doing their own thing in their own way, but they all came together under a banner of a group called Wu-Tang. So when they were doing an album together as a group, it would be called Wu-Tang, but they were also had their own independent stuff going on.
Well, then you need to tell me when we're getting together to record the Christmas special, Lee. I mean, come on.
So what I did was then is I like yourself and Based and Bougie, I told you all when I first met you all, like, I want you all to do your thing. I want you all to do your own YouTube pages and do your own social media pages and everything else, and focus on your own niches and do your own thing, and then I will
and
share it.
bring it
Yeah,
together
and I will
under a
share it
banner.
under the banner and everything else, because the more people that we've got in London singing from our hymn sheet will then helps us push back on the narrative of Khan's PR machine from places like Secret London and London Economics, where they try to tell you that London is all great and London is all, you know, fine and rosy and rainbows and everything else. When the reality is, and if you go on our page, you know, there's no lies. It's not just stories, it's not just words, there's video evidence to
Real
show you when
world.
you look at London streets, the decline is off the scale. You only have to go to places like Park Lane, Warren Street Station, walk out of Warren Street Station, which is a stone's throw away from one of the wealthiest places of central London, and it is littered with rubbish and tents and just filth and you can't tell me that anybody in that area of London is happy about that. No one.
Cool.
No one. The only people that are happy about it, as I said, are Carl's PR machine and the people that, you know, claim they're from London but are currently living in Saint-Tropez, you know, but do bop back every now and then. Yeah. You know, you get that a lot. I get that a lot in my comment section. Well, I pop back to London every now and then and it hasn't changed. It's got better over the last 20 years. Yeah, of course. All right. Of course you do. Of course you do.
Well, look, people can go and find London by Londoners. It's we_r_LBL on Twitter.
Yep.
Search London by Londoners, you will find it. It is an absolutely cracking
They'll
platform because
find you as well.
Lee said, it brings it absolutely. It brings everyone together. It brings all of us, you know, commentators trying to expose what's going on in the decline of our great capital. And also, you know, it says it as it is. Frankly, that's what this is all got to be about. We've got to start saying it as it is. We can't play political correctness. We can't play with the PR machine. We've got to just speak the common sense and say what people are seeing. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to fix stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, one of my number one things has always been, with what annoys me and what really grinds my gears about politicians is like, why can't you just be honest?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I might not like it.
That I've been given from central office that I've got to read, and I can't deny or claim anything. It's like, no, just say, yeah, we messed up.
Yeah, I might not like it. I might not like the decisions you make, but at least let me know. Let me know and let me make an informed decision about it. Don't, you know, give me these hopes and aspirations about, you know, oh, we're going to lower your taxes, we're going to do this, we're going to create this. And then the budget comes along and I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, that's the complete opposite of everything you just told me. You know,
but at least people are educated now that Labour are absolute liars, and the next chance they get to, they got to vote them out.
Yeah, I'd rather just say, like, you know, I'd rather just be, you know, just say, you know, look, it's TfL, for example. I'd rather them just say, you know, right, the reason why the trains are so bad, the reason why we have done this is because unfortunately we've overspent on this, blah blah. That's why your prices are going up, and we're working to combat, and we're working to deal with that. You know, just be honest. You know, it might hurt, and it might cost you your job.
But at least people know the facts.
But I'd have far more respect for you for that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what annoys me about Sadiq Khan. I'd have, you know, it's not a coloured thing. It's not a religion thing in any way, shape, or form. Because that bloke was was a local MP for me, literally a stone throw in Tooting, a stone throw. So I've known him a lot longer than most people have known him. And he was a useless sod then, right? So it's got
some things never change.
It's got nothing to do with his colour, his religion, you know, how small he is.
It's to do with their track record. It's the fact they can't be honest with you.
It's to do with the fact, that you just cannot just be honest. You know, be honest about where our money's going. Be honest about the fact that you can't be honest about the fact that the job is too big for you, and just move aside. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, it's the reason why he's got so many deputies now. I mean, and this is why he spends so much of our money, because he's got so many managers and so many deputies, because he can't do the job. That's the simple. That's the simple fact of the matter. You know, when you've got too many managers in again, I go back to a business standpoint, right? When a lot of businesses that fail normally fail because they've got too much management and not enough staff.
Yeah.
Because the main man can't do the job.
Yeah.
And we got a mate.
Too many chefs ruin the broth. It's a simple thing. Sadiq Khan has lost control, and he's trying to cover it up in as much bureaucracy and red tape as possible. He can't do the job anymore. He's not a good enough mayor,
and he don't employ. And the thing is as well, he can't employ the right people. So if we look at, for example, the new police crime commissioner, that woman, right? I don't know how she got that job.
Our new deputy mayor for policing.
Yeah, I don't know how she got that job. I don't know. I don't even want to know why she got that job, right? But
absolutely useless. Cannot answer a single question. Doesn't know anything.
She can't. She just doesn't know anything. And I don't know.
And she's meant to be the deputy mayor for policing and crime.
Yeah, and unfortunately that falls on him because he's not even briefing her. And the reason why he's not briefing her is because he knows that when it all goes belly up again, you know, like the Night Kazar thing, with Amy Lamb and everything, when it all goes belly up, he doesn't get the blame because it's not his responsibility.
Yep.
And that's how he's staying.
He's lining up people to fall on the sword.
Because he's got cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Where he can just say, well, that's your fault, you've got to go. You know.
But at the end of the day, the fish rots from the head, and Sadiq Khan is the one who we've got to get rid of. We have to get Khan out.
Yeah, and for me, I think for me at the moment, it's Layla Cunningham. Unless,
I think let's see what the election's going to be like. It's going to be a real treat. I think.
You go up for
it. Is that your slight nudge for me to do to
go
for that?
Why not? I mean, you got your. You know, you do quite well. You do well as a councillor. I mean, you was what was it? You was one of the only Conservative councillors to keep your seat, when you?
That's the mastermind of the book. You know, we were the only Conservative to increase their majority at the general election and things like that. It's very kind of you, but I think I've got enough stuff trying to sort out the rest of the blooming country, let alone London. But who knows? I'll sleep on it and have a think. But look, Lee, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute cracker of a discussion. We are. I don't know whether to feel despondent or whether to feel hopeful that stuff might change.
No, we've got to be We'll be hopeful. 2026.
I would say the jury's out on that, but we don't have juries now anymore. So,
2026 will be a good year.
2026, I'm looking forward to seeing Labour destroyed across London and the country. And then that gives the pressure to put Keir out and Rachel Reeves out, the whole bloody lot of them.
Yeah, 2026 will be a good year. Rachel Reeves will no longer be Chancellor. Keir Starmer will get greyer. Sadiq Khan will get shorter. Trump will be more annoying. It will be good. I mean, this is what's going to... The one final point.
I'm writing these all down because in a year's time, I'm going to hold you to this.
One final point before I go. What's going to really fascinate me the most, right, is and I'm going overseas with this one, is the new, on January, the new mayor of New York.
Yeah.
Now, Sadiq Khan, Dawn Butler, and all the usual suspects were really, 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 really supportive of him, right?
Yep.
Right up until the point where a couple of weeks ago he ended up in the White House shaking hands with Donald Trump,
buddies,
and Donald Trump telling him how good this relationship's going to be and how they're going to work together and everything else. They went suspiciously quiet after that one. So I'll be interested to see how much Sadiq Khan loves New York in 2026. Because
well, I've written down Rachel Reeves will be gone, Keir Starmer will be greyer, Sadiq Khan will be shorter, and Donald Trump will be more annoying. In a year's time, I'm going to hold you to this,
Lee.
We'll
come back in a year.
You've got my hopes up now.
We'll come back in a year. I promise you, that's what's going to happen.
Awesome. Lee, thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Thank you to everybody who's watched along. There's going to be shorts, there's going to be clips, there's going to be everything happening. Get involved, like, comment, share, get involved in the discussion because that's how it works. Make sure you go check out London by Londoners and see everything that Lee, Bougie, everyone is doing. We're having a great time over there. And obviously the most important thing is to just keep saying it as it is. Speak common sense, hold truth to the flame, and make sure that you get out and blow and vote when you get the opportunity. 100%. I've been Matthew and Freeman. There's too many Union Jacks in this room, so I'm going to go hide from the police before they raid me. Thank you, good night, and God bless.
See you later, mate.